Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to my video on the top 5 things that every Lux player must know before jumping into ranked. A little bit of background about myself. My name is Lowfit. I do educational content similar to this where it's tips and tricks, and then also longer formatted guides. D4 experience. I've probably played about 100 to 200 games of Lux. I'm also very open to all feedback and critique on my videos. If you want to make any comments, or if you have any questions, or if you want me to review your NAOPGG, or even a full gameplay, I'm always down to do that kind of stuff. I like helping people out that are looking to climb. I also watch a shitload of YouTube videos, predominantly on League of Legends content, and I've come across these two cool channels right there, Z-Man the Gamer and Music and Game. I'm going to put a link in the description for both of them if you guys want to give them a look. I really enjoyed a few of the videos that I saw, and also if you have a channel that you're doing League of Legends content on and want me to give you a shout out, please put a link in the description down below, and I will, if I like your stuff, I'll put it on my next video. I understand that I have a kind of a small channel, but when you're a small creator, it's kind of cool to interact with other small creators and see and kind of build each other up and learn from each other as well. So without further ado, let's jump right into the video. Alright, and jumping into number 1, the thing that every single Lux player needs to know is how to hit their goddamn skill shots. It can be difficult sometimes when people are good at dodging. So for my first tip, what I want you guys to think about when you're trying to land skill shots is where they are going to be, not where they are exactly. Pretty general of a tip, but here, let me kind of share my thoughts on it. You want to be finding a locked frame where you know exactly where they're going to be. For example, a locked frame is a auto attack where you know exactly where they're going to be standing. Lux is always going to be standing right here when she's auto attacking, unless she's fake autoing and like canceling or something. So just you can always use that to help you land skill shots. And also when people are using their mobilities and dashes and you know the range of them, for example an Alistar W trying to just jump in and fucking headbutt you, or maybe it's a Talon Q and you know exactly where he's going to go, you're just peeling for one of your allies and you know he's going to be jumping on your ally, so just get it timed right and throw the Q right there. So always be throwing your skill shots where you have a pretty good and a good educated guess on where they are going to be. Now the second tip I want to give you guys to help you with just landing your skill shots, just a pretty general tip that most people should know. Here we go. So he is against the wall, so this is completely dead space in which he cannot dodge to. So you want to be right here. You want to be in a straight line, and you want to throw it down the way that they're moving. So you're always going to be hitting it, and you want to be throwing it a little bit to the left side, so if they try and dodge away from the wall, it's still going to hit no matter what. So this is a really effective way to land skill shots, and always be looking for people, say if you're playing in the bot lane, if they're running right here, just line up straight with them and throw it like a bowling ball. Just throw it straight down that line and you will have very good accuracy. This can work pretty similar in areas like this in mid lane, where they have to run a certain way and you're just right here, and to some effect with these shorter walls, but it's definitely nowhere as good with the long walls. Alright, and that will wrap up number 1. Alright, and jumping into number 2, Lux players can really abuse their global. With the way I mean this is, you can be throwing 2 abilities at the same time, and you can actually hide your binding behind your shield, and this might just help you in a small amount, like maybe a small percentage, like maybe you'll land 5% more Qs when you're hiding it behind a shield, but it can be a really effective way to kind of catch them off balance. And also a big tip about this is when you're throwing this out a lot like that, if you just start throwing out your shield with no Q behind it, sometimes they will react and flash without you even having to throw your Q, and then you can just follow up and Q them when they're flashing. So you can use it as a bit of a mind game. This will add a bit more of a dimension to your play. So always look to be using and abusing this type of it's just a little trick that you can pick up and start using, and I encourage you guys to just try it out in your games. You can also do it with your E as well. You can hide your E behind the shield as well. So always look to be just trying to get that little bit of an edge over your enemy, over your opponent. Alright, and thirdly, I want to talk about the effect that tenacity can have on Lux players. A lot of people will be taking Merc Treads, especially if you have a high AP damage team, and they will reduce the effectiveness of your stun or your snare duration, and can really affect your combo. Especially if they have that bloodline to even further increase their tenacity. So once you have a guaranteed hit, I really encourage you to just be throwing your whole combo at once. Not just be looking, oh hey, I hit that Q, I need to run back and then do E and then R. Oh wait, the root's already out by that time. So I really encourage you guys to just start learning how to throw out your combo as quickly as possible when you have a guaranteed hit. Sometimes you might look silly, but this can be a very effective tool on just being able to burst people out, especially when they have a high amount of tenacity. And that will wrap up number 3. Alright, and next up, I have a very big tip, and something that really annoys me a lot when I see allied Luxes not doing this is, by no means does she have a cookie cutter build in which you should be building it every time. You should be really reflecting on the first up, the game state, and second, the champions that the opponent's team have. If they have a lot of tanks, you need to look into tank shred, obviously. If you're playing against something with a high impact ultimate like Fizz or Talon, you should be looking into defensive abilities or items like Banshees or Zonias. And if you're even snowballing really quick, I recommend something like the Spellbinder can work in those games where you're really just trying to shut people out in the first 20 minutes and just hit your combo with the Spellbinder proc, and it can really just snowball that game even further out of control. I would say it has a similar effect as what would you call it? The Dark Seal into Magi's. It's a little bit more safe. It's more expensive, obviously, but it can be a really big difference in your combo, just giving you a lot more damage in your abilities. So always be looking at what the game state is before you're buying your items. You really don't want to be rushing just straight AP items like something like Luden's, but oh shit, they have a lot of tanks and they have a lot of dive threat on me and I'm building super offensive. So really be focusing on what your team needs and what you are going to be playing. You can even look into things like Athene's, where you're not performing really well, but hey, you have an ADC or a bruiser in the top lane or a squishy in another lane that's doing extremely well. You can build a bit defensive and get a little bit more utility in your team and play it like that. You don't always have to be the biggest damage dealer on your team. Really try and fill the gaps in your team and what is needed. Alright, let's jump right into number 5, and this revolves heavily around your game knowledge, and you can really use this to maximize the amount of damage you're going to be putting out in team fights and your overall ability to play Lux. Now, before you are throwing your combos, before you're even thinking about doing your combos, you should be saying, hey, what kind of threat does this guy have on me? How much mobility does he have? And what are his zones of control? And why this is so important, even with someone like Lux, who has such large range, is that she has a passive that does a lot of damage. Obviously, everyone knows about it. You do a bit more damage on your auto attacks after hitting one. But what I think separates a lot of the good from the mediocre Luxes is knowing when they can auto attack. You can do it wrong in 2 ways. First up, you can be going to auto attack and, oh wait, this guy can now turn on me, dash on me, and kill me. So you're obviously not doing yourself any favors by getting into that auto attack range when you can just be sitting at max range and shooting it because you know they have a high threat on you. But there's also another problem that a lot of people fall into this trap, is they're playing overly defensive. This guy is going to be running away from me after I combo him. He's going to be very low, so I don't have to worry about any return pressure. So you should always be weaving in your auto attacks after you're landing a ability. Now, this can be a bit tricky with obviously fog and knowing where the junglers are and how that's happening, but really look to be taking advantage of your auto attacks in positions where you can. So Some examples of things that you can do very auto attack heavy trades in is you can be looking for very high damage combos where people have already used their abilities. Say a Xerath just threw his full QWE at you trying to burst you out and kill you. You dodge it, you're able to hit an auto attack after every single one of them, because the only thing he can be doing back to you is auto attacking. So always look to be min-maxing on Lux, as she isn't in the best place right now, but I think she is in a great place to take advantage of people that do not position correctly. Alright, and that will wrap up my top 5 tips that every Lux player needs to know. Obviously, this isn't everything. I couldn't cover that all in a single video, short video like this. So please let me know if you guys have any cool tips and tricks that I didn't cover at all for Lux. Comment down below and I will get around to that. I'm always really interactive, so if you guys have any kind of questions, I'm always looking at my comments and responding, and that goes for all my videos, not just the most recent one. I'm looking into doing a bigger guide, an in-depth guide for Lux as well, where it's more of the 20-minute format like some of the other videos I have on my channel. And that will wrap up my video, and you guys take it easy.